Pick a card, your Achilles heel. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you at your reading. Hi friends, my name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do another pick a card reading. For those of you new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping in. And for those of you that are repeat offenders, I really appreciate your time, energy, and support. Hopefully everyone will find something here that will help them or at least amuse them. Today we're going to be reading about your Achilles heel. And you guys probably know, but just in case, Achilles in Greek mythology was the strongest warrior. And his mother basically dropped him into, well, she dipped him into the river Styx, making him invulnerable, except for the part where she held him by the Achilles heel. So that made him vulnerable and, pervy to be just like us in that one area only. So today we're going to explore where you're currently at as a quick energy check. But then we're also going to be looking at what is your Achilles heel, of course. That was my first curiosity. But when I read more about how he was held by the Achilles heel, and that's the part where he was vulnerable, I was thinking to myself, it's interesting because I'm interested to find out what is holding your Achilles heel. So I'd like to see if we can get some information about that. And of course, we'll get a ton of information for you. How to handle it. And what does Spirit think about this as well? All the things, all the things. So without further ado, we're going to use a whole different deck today. We're going to use the African Goddess Rising Oracle. And that's what we're going to pull from as far as our choices. So for your Achilles heel, I'd like 3 cards representing each group, each pile. Okay, here's pile number 1. Sekhmet, the Wounded Healer. It's funny because this one came out in the pre-shuffle. And pile 2. Nundi with Truth. And if I mispronounce, do forgive. Here we go with the squeaks. It's squeaky time. And pile number 3. Here we go. Oh, it's good juju. I just texted somebody this literally today. Good juju. With Marie Levon. I could never pronounce that last name. But anyways, I will leave this in the picture. Yeah, or, all over the place. I'll leave a picture here so you'll have time to pause and take a peek at your leisure and make your choices. And I'll see you at your pile. Please pause if you need more time. Hi, pile number 1. My name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading if you missed that part. But pile number 1, we chose Sekhmet, the Wounded Healer. Now this gives me absolutely 1000% the High Priestess vibes. So we have the positive negative polarity, the archway, the connection to the moon, and of course being crowned, and her royal garb right here. In this case it is red. And the goddess, the Wounded Healers, it's Egypt. So she's an Egyptian goddess. And her element is fire, which no surprise with the attire being featured here. And apparently she's a temple warrior. So Sekhmet is a fierce ancient Egyptian goddess of war, the sun and healing. She carries life force in her palm and with the power to create or destroy. It's very interesting about this. So we'll find out a little bit more about her momentarily. So I'd like to do just a quick energy check for pile number 1. I'd like to find out if this is pile number 1's reading, and just to confirm, where are they at now, please? in relationship to their Achilles heel. The Lovers. You could be needing to make a choice between two people or two I heard equally exhausting things. Okay. So maybe you're even tired about this, but this is having a fork in the road. Oh my. I feel like this is about love. I mean, what else could it be? Look, we've got the Queen of Wands, and she is probably the queen that most represents, or at least most resembles, an actress. So she could be incredibly alluring, tempting, seems to hide secrets herself. With the Lovers, there's a need to make a choice, okay? So you could be in between two lovers or being torn between two lovers. I don't know what's going on, okay? But this is your energy check, having to make a choice. A lot of messages back and forth, or a desire to make a lot of messages, even if you're not quite, right, making messages at the moment. I feel like this is, okay, do I do this? Do I do that? And it could be even having a fear of approaching another partner and having to make that choice, okay? Now, when I was looking through the camera, I looked at this and all of a sudden it appeared to me that the camera was recording, kind of like my camera recording with that red dot. So the Eight of Wands, it's almost like a recording of messages back and forth. And this could be just simply stating that it's replaying over and over in your mind. Or you did, in fact, or someone did, in fact, save messages to their loved one, significant other, or potential romantic partner. I'd be really surprised if this was not romantic, but if it's not, then equally, it's just going to mean that there is a major choice to be made, major fork in the road, and something could be really tempting. Something could be extremely alluring to want to cause you to abandon what you currently have, or have your cake and eat it too, which typically is signified by the Lovers. And with the Eight of Wands, a lot of messages going back and forth regarding that situation as well. That's your energy check, okay? If these things kind of make sense to you, then great. If they do not at all make sense, and there's no way, I'm not asking you to forcefully try to fit them in anything. This is a general reading. Then that would not be your reading, okay? So let's find out a little bit about your Achilles heel here. I bumped my camera all to heck. All the things. Okay. So, tell me a little bit more about pile number one's Achilles heel. We have the Wounded Warrior and these other cards with the energy check. I'd like to know a little bit more about the Achilles heel. We're taking this. The High Priestess. That's what's up. I feel like you are the keeper of secrets. You could have many people's secrets, not only your own. I feel like you could be viewed almost like even the High Priestess or a Pope, okay? Somebody who people can really trust, almost like, hey, he will go to the grave with those secrets. And interesting that that could be part of your Achilles heel. Show me more. A trusted advisor, a confidant. Somebody that people, okay, really actually get. And then options, choices and options. I'm going to pull one more card here for your Achilles heel, please. This is actually quite a clear picture. Let's take this one. The Star, yay! I love this card. So pretty. Okay, so what we have here, we literally have a wounded healer. And I feel like this is depicting you, basically. And you've undergone so much, so many things, all of the things. And this includes things from childhood, things from adulthood, just basically things that have put you through the ringer. But also I feel like you have found a place, that quiet place, where it tells you exactly what's going on, what is up. I don't feel like there's been a lot of questions in your mind about things other than questioning your own intuition, oddly enough. Now, I feel like that's going to be your Achilles heel. I feel like you're the trusted advisor to everyone, okay? You appear to have all the answers, and I don't think that you necessarily portray yourself as, but when people come to you, they're like, oh yeah, that she will have answers. They always do. And maybe you have like, I'm hearing divinely given answers and solutions, and that's great. I feel like when you speak, you're well-spoken. I feel like you really consider things. You approach things from a neutral manner. And I feel like you offer a variety of different solutions, and you kind of Rubik's Cube things and go, well, the way I see it, this is what I'm observing. This is, what Spirit says. But it seems like your messages tend to be more divinely guided, divinely given. So I don't feel like I feel like you're very neutral as far as like, quote, getting credit or trying to be viewed as like, ooh, somebody who knows all the answers. I don't think that's it at all. I feel like you generally care for people because when you're the wounded healer, you've been through so much and in so much pain that it would never even dawn on you to try to cause that pain onto other people. Now we're human, so that means that we're all going to wind up hurting each other one way or another, right? Deliberately or inadvertently. Now, I'm going to say right here, it's like you offer people a dream, and it's not an illogical dream. It is actually a very tangible dream, and you offer people hope. With the star, I feel like another thing that you help people with is the ability to follow or the ability to identify a path that they can follow. And I think that that's incredibly beautiful because I feel like during your wound and your pain, you really seek to heal other people, which is, what the wounded healer is all about. But by the same token, just like the book says, she's also the goddess of war. She's the goddess of the sun. So you uphold the sun as well. And it seems like people radiate around you. And I'll tell you how this is an Achilles heel in a moment. But also the goddess of healing and war as well. And so I feel like during all of this, you can give people solutions that maybe places them at war within themselves. Because I feel like I heard you go after the ethics, but not in that manner. I feel like you go to the heart of the matter, the core of what people and who people are, and you identify this is, out of alignment. Okay, that's what it is. You put people into alignment with who they really most authentically are. If they were to seek their higher self, if they were to follow their follow their higher self, all right? That's what this is. Now, the interesting part about this is while I feel like people revolve around you quite a bit because you are the sun, you appear to have the answers, you have suggestions, and I feel like it's very loving and giving and very nurturing, almost very maternal towards people. And I almost feel like, I even said this the other day, I'm like, I'm not Mother Gaia. I'm not any of those. I'm not Mother Earth. I'm not like can't possibly try to heal or nurture the world, even though that's my heart is really, I want to help heal and help people. And I feel like that's how you're viewed. And consequently, as a wounded healer, I don't feel like people see these wounds very often. I don't think that people really quite understand that you yourself have been hurt so deep and cut so deep, and that Achilles heel has been sliced many times. And I'm not laughing as haha, but it's almost like you've been hurt to the core that people cannot even comprehend the level of wounds. And it's not something that you're deliberately withholding or suppressing. But when people, I feel like, are coming to you, you're not offering. You're not like, oh, look, I've been, this is my wound and let's talk about me. And now your focus is all external. It's let me help you. And, you might reference yourself as a point of reference like, oh, this is my experience. And this is what I learned, and maybe that can help you and that can assist you. But I don't feel like that comes at all out of arrogance or a desire to withhold from people. But I do feel like because people are so focused on like monumental changes, because I feel like you can bring tower moments into people's lives inadvertently because you have a lot of these secrets and it's so alluring and so it's like they want to know, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, do I want to know? Almost like when they know, they can't come back from that. And so it makes people fear and revere you all at once. And that's another point in your Achilles heel. But also, it makes it to where you can't really go anywhere. And you don't get the same support or the same ear or the same level of consideration from other people. Because I feel like it's not out of any need, like they don't think, okay, rephrase, slow down. It's more out of they feel like you don't really need it. It never dawns on that you might need help or you still are a wounded person and you have things to heal as well currently. And they never think about giving to you in that way because they see you as the healer, and so that becomes a very lonely place. And I feel like for a long time, maybe you could be very lonely. You could have been very lonely. and not deliberately from other people around desiring to hurt and hinder you, but simply they never think about the warrior and the one that, is the goddess of the sun or the god of the sun and things like that, the healer themselves needing some love and some healing and support. Okay. So that's, and also I feel like you could use some inspiration sometimes, or positive affirmation, words of affirmation, some emotional support, and even like verbal confirmation or affirmations or something to really kind of lift you up. And that is your Achilles heel. It's like, it makes you human. Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. Sorry. I get ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm going to see how does spirit view this? Okay, I'd like to know a little bit about pile number 1. Don't be jumping. I'm not ready. Fine. Metamorphosis. Okay. Major transformation with the number 25. The number 2 is, I feel like, coming back to you, coming back to yourself. This is almost like a mirror. It's like the wounded healer is always looking for ways on how to heal their own selves. And yet the Achilles heel is there to serve as a reminder that, hey, you're human too. Don't forget where you came from. And it keeps you relatable, and it keeps you trustworthy, and it keeps you as someone who people are drawn to because they can intuitively feel like you have some kind of depth or some kind of wound or a deep compassion that they can actually approach you. Okay. And spirit feels like this it gives you all of the balances, all of the checks and balances I'm hearing. And that tends to be a metamorphosis in other people's lives. So it might be like a thorn in your side, a pain for you, but definitely it is helpful for the people that you are helping and healing. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. And I've been like loving the elephants lately. So also, spirit feels like this makes you a great listener. You take everything in, you soak things in, and you do it out of love and out of compassion, but also out of an understanding that you too have been deeply wounded. And this makes you like quiet. And in that quiet and that silence, I feel like sometimes you can even channel information back to the person that you're listening to. You could be even like a professional counselor and things like that. But in listening, I also feel like you bring back like ancient memories from your ancestors or messages given from your ancestors. And indeed, you might even channel other people's ancestors when they're confiding in you. But the number 5 I have here referenced 3 times so far that I can see. Number 5 is a lot about change, and we've already talked about change with the metamorphosis, okay? So spirit thinks that this makes you relatable, approachable, that it makes you a great listener, that you take it to heart. And it's almost like you're an earth angel in a lot of ways. And I know that sounds really kind of far-fetched and high up there, but when you really look at your life, if this is resonating, I feel like people would definitely say that about you. Now, spirit also feels like this is a fine balancing act, and in order to keep us humble, right, I feel like it's balancing on a pillar, and then you have this like wire attached to something else. And during your travels, crack my voice. Anyways, you have to balance and be very fine-tuned onto where it is that you're headed and your voyage. So I feel like this makes you not only relatable, but it also helps you navigate other people while simultaneously you're navigating yourself out of rough spots, out of maybe high condensation. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. That means something to someone. But I'm also seeing, a lot of the clouds. So it gets you out of situations, or navigates you through, I should say, situations where you can't really see things otherwise, and you need to have that inner compass. Now, the interesting part about you, pile number 1, is that you have very high moral compass. And it's not necessarily about, this is what's right in society's eyes or that, but it's a moral compass about what is good for that person. And using a barometer, and I think you have extrasensory vision. That's weird, but you're able to sense and even see how other people are affected by your advice and how they would be affected. So I think that you have a very much a higher perspective, almost like she's standing very tall right here. You could be seeing them number 1111, 1155. Maybe even looking up angel number 1155 might mean something to you. I don't know what that's about. But this is all a balancing act. Now, if you were completely like grounded, or you were completely in the ocean and you had a set course and you had like, you know, auto navigation and Google Maps, do boats use that? I have no idea. And if you had the, you know, ultrasound, I don't know what it's even called, but where they can see through the water so that you're not hitting things like rocks and big logs that you can't see, depending on where you're at. You know, all of the technologies and things like that. If you had all of that, I feel like it would just breed a lack of compassion, lack of understanding. And honestly, I feel like it would make us arrogant. So I feel like that's why Spirit's like, yeah, we need to find balancing act. We're not trying to make your life difficult, but it is, oh, wow, this is so beautiful. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, this is my pile for sure. This is my pile, and I always wind up slightly identifying with all the piles. But your last card is the Sacred Pool. And look at this lady. Look at this lady. If it comes in close. She is totally reclining, just floating on her back, looking up at Spirit and just kind of stargazing, sun gazing, communing with Spirit, communing with, I don't know, the water fairies, something. But the Sacred Pool, I feel like this just alludes to how your Achilles heel is renewed and it's healed bit by bit the more that you heal other people. And the only way to do that, I feel like, is you knowing that you need to dip yourself entirely in the Sacred Pool. You could be fully submerged in your desire to help other people, by the way, and in your spiritual journey. I hate this glare. So you could be completely submerged in that, and that's why people come to you. But that definitely makes you feel alone. It makes you feel sometimes out of balance, like if I mismaneuver or if I misstep, there is a chance I could fall off of that little tiny wire, you know. The other caveat to that is you can give all of this lovely advice to other people and see their perspective, but you're so busy like kind of navigating and helping other people out that sometimes you might feel incredibly isolated, incredibly alone. Also that people cannot like really understand or even ask you sometimes, like, how are you doing on a deep level? Because they assume that you're doing fantastic with the great insight and things like that that you have. That's why they come to you. So I'm going to say that that is a thing. Now I'm interested to find out like who or what holds the Achilles heel here. A little bit more. Interesting. So it's your passion. So sometimes you can get over zealous, over excited. Yeah. And have that passion within you that might cause you to act a little bit too fast. So you want to be sure to kind of slow that down, regulate that, and double check yourself. I'd like to know a little bit more about how to bring this into balance and how to regulate this Achilles heel, please. And if you're liking these kind of reads, let me know by giving me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Heal the ouch. I'm so done. These cards, this is a whole different deck, y'all, and it's like repeating itself. Heal the out. So there's things in yourself that you are still working on, still needing to heal. I don't think it's a secret to you. I don't think it's a secret to other people that you're close to. But I definitely feel like it might be a time for you to go to someone else who perhaps is a healer as well. This little raccoon is a nurse. And this little coyote is got a headache maybe or something, right? So whatever might be plaguing you, whatever is on your mind currently, it might be a good idea to speak to someone who is similar, gifted like you, just like you, or even better than you, better than us. Isn't that the show? So that is what I have for you. And I hope that this made sense. Let me know in the comments section. Much, much love to you. Until next time, namaste. Hi, pile number 2. My name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading. So, Pile number 2, you chose Nundi with truth, the number 34. So the 3 for me stands for cooperation, all the cogs working together, all of the things thinging, basically. The number 4 is your foundation, right? So this is how we build. And then together, it reduces to 7. And from that, to me, that's a very, very spiritual number, by the way. So I'm going to start with Nundi. Nundi herself. Let's have a peek at Nundi here. Beautiful. Focus. You might hear my puppy snoring away now. So Nundi is a goddess of truth. Nundi, the bold, outspoken wife of Benin Iwa, was feeling neglected by her husband, even with several wives. His head easily turned. I mean, that's like a new meaning to the word, well, the term keep your head in a swivel. Sorry. I don't think that's what they mean when they said keep your head in a swivel, but here he is. Okay. So Nundi lived her truth, took her own lover, and became her own best friend. So this is really beautiful. And of course, we have all the reds, which does stand for passion. And then we have that's the root chakra and the sacral chakra being reflected out here. And even the heavens is kind of echoing that. This is a card of deep sensuality and of truth. And I even feel like you could be somebody who moves about in the world in a very sensuous manner and not, I mean, even maybe your walk is very sensual, or how you do things, how you move. I feel like when people look at you, they get mesmerized by sheer movement, by your movement. Okay, so let's have a look here about what part is your Achilles heel. So I'm interested to find this out. Focus. Thank you. Show me what I need to see. Why is Nundi here for pile 2? Pile number 2. What is the Achilles heel? What part is your Achilles heel? Okay. The Empress. What? Okay. This is all about the Empress anyways. And the Empress is all about the sacral chakra, about desire, about tangibility, about sensuality, sexuality even. All of the things. What else? And temperance. So having to temper that. And your Achilles heel could be something that maybe takes you back into a place where you want to focus simply on your own sensuality or sexuality, on maybe becoming your best friend, which is not a bad thing, by the way. But we're going to find out a little bit more about how this is your Achilles heel, okay? So it can make it make sense, Spirit. That's what we're asking. 7 of Swords, yeah. I feel like some of you guys could have put your own needs first. Not saying it's a bad thing, not necessarily saying it's a good thing either. But I'm definitely saying that you have had to leave different situations or chosen to leave situations where they didn't put you first. Perhaps you were partnered with someone who was a chronic cheater, who, I call it eyeballs clicking wherever you go. It's like click, click, click. They can't help it. They're just looking. Sometimes partner will be looking, regardless if you know they're looking, they just don't care. But I'm not talking just a glance and looking casually. It sounds to me like very much like Nundi's husband is, looking and just wanting to jump somebody on the spot. Or at least acting like it. It's pretty disrespectful. But maybe you could have had a partner like that and you just went in search of your own thing. So maybe, and I'm feeling like it's feeling a little bit unclear, but it feels to me like maybe one partner could have cheated if you had a partner, or you could have difficulty just holding down like one partner with a 444. I just saw that. And I'm feeling love triangle energy. There's no other way for me to express it. And it could be like one partner cheats and the other one cheats to get even, something like that. But I feel like the Achilles heel is, you are definitely sensuous. And there's a need to kind of transmute. What the temperance is all about balance. It's being balanced on earth, but also being balanced in the water. Balancing emotion and even, this is so cool, balancing the negative and positive. Balancing the masculine and feminine, all the things. Part woman, part man, all angel. 1 foot on water and 1 foot on land. This is temperance, and it's healing, and it's denoting a very long, long journey. So maybe it's taken a long journey for you to maybe pursue your own sensuality and go after your own truth, voicing your own truth. And maybe this is saying that voicing your own truth has taken a long time to be able to do. And I think that you're finally at that point where you have had to leave or abandon or make hidden moves in order to really pursue what is true and honest and real for you. And maybe the high priestess also being depicted here is a reflection of you being able to look deep within and speaking your truth finally. Because although the high priest does hold her cards close to her chest, I feel like with all this blue being reflected here in this passage, I feel like this is a rite of passage to speak your truth some way, somehow. So maybe this has a lot to do with something that has occurred that really affected your sensuality, sexuality, some way, somehow. And you are coming back into your own, coming back into yourself, okay? Now, for a small pool of you, I'm going to say that this could have had something to do with something horrible that happened to you when you were growing up. And if that's your story, then I completely relate, because that is my story as well. But this could have been really depicting battles of you healing over that wound and learning to embrace once again your own sensuality, your own feminine characteristics. And whether you're male, female, it doesn't make a difference. We all have the masculine, feminine. And yes, I'm well aware that masculines can have had those pasts as well. And I'm addressing this as a collective. So I do have friends that have been through very similar and shocking things that are male. So I don't feel like this is strictly a female read at all. But I feel like you've had to leave kind of a tried and true way of doing things, or the way that you were doing things before, in order to pursue your own path. And I feel like you've elevated and grown so much. And this is something that you are embracing so very much, and you're learning how to be outspoken more about your truth. But I feel like I know a lot of people are not Christian that listen to, watch my channel, but a lot like Jesus, he wasn't respected where he was, okay? He had to go elsewhere and teach and do whatever he did in order for people to even lend an ear, because otherwise it was just, oh, that's just my brother. Oh, that's my little sister. Oh, that's my daughter. That's my whatever. And they don't take you seriously. So I feel like this could have been one of those things where you had to make a great journey. And indeed, your whole life could have been a great journey. And this is your Achilles heel. And I feel like this is even saying that, why has it taken this long? It's been a long, long journey. It hasn't been just, oh, let me do a couple of steps. This has been a lifelong thing in order for you to circle back. And in order for you not only to circle back, but I feel like this is kind of rotating, in circles, and finding your own sacral chakra and what brings you joy and what brings you pleasure and what it is that you feel like, this is good for me and I can enjoy this. Because I feel like, considering if you come from that background I just spoke about, the whole idea has been really convoluted. The whole idea of sex and commitment and even love could have been really perverted or twisted into such a way that the way you led your life before wasn't really helping. And I feel like that is your Achilles heel. You've had to really break apart from old, outmoded ways of doing things or of thinking, or if you even thinking that, this was okay, or that you could just stuff it away and continue living a quote normal life. But I don't think that that was true at all. I think that you had to really embark on a huge journey, and it was a solitary journey. And this tells me that you've taken all of your deep, dark experiences with you on this journey. And you got ferried to the other side. And it was almost, maybe perhaps felt like at a time, it felt like you were so alone that it felt like a death, okay? And this, again, won't be for all of you. This is some of you. And if that's your story, then please stick around, because there's more. But that's your Achilles heel. And the reason why this transpired is I feel like you're making a huge impact on the world. And you are now, okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself again. Look at my cards as I let the glare in. The Three of Pentacles. So this is your impact on the world, and this is indeed mapped so that you can actually make connections. You can reach people that most people cannot reach. You can understand people that most people cannot understand. When people go to therapy, and like, well, I've been therapized. That's not even a word or a term, but I've been therapized and I did all the things and I check all the boxes and I've done everything to save my marriage. And yet our mindset and our heart set remains unchanged, because sometimes we have same people around, people that really serve to push on those triggers that don't serve us for the highest good. Maybe your path was something completely different. And maybe you just really had to embrace all the parts of you, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I feel like even this with that feminine side, masculine side, I feel like there could have been a struggle there, and even identifying who you are, what you are, all of it. Like, how do you relate to the world? How are you going to present yourself? All the things like that. And so this could have been really difficult because it separated you from other people. And not only did you not have comfort in the very beginning in a partnership, meaning being someone's part of a family or whatever your case is, but there was just no comfort there, so you had to move on, and that forced you into seeking really your truth and who you are. But I already answered the part that how does spirit see this, and I feel like spirit definitely sees this is your connectivity. When people play connect four, they're like, oh my gosh, pile number 2, they get me. Or pile number 2, I can't believe you endured so much. And it's not the fact that, you were made to suffer. I don't really believe that either. But I do believe that people have free will. And I do believe that there's a lot of evil in this world. And, I'm going to say that that's part of my belief system, especially because of what I've personally experienced. So I'm thinking some of you guys might agree, some of you guys may not. Okay, I'm going to try one more time because it's making me nuts. But pile number 2, the Three of Pentacles is here, and it's just to tell us that there is a plan to allow all of these horrible negative experiences and things that have occurred to you to give you so much more depth. And also, I feel like this looks like a bag, even though it might be like a leather flask, enabling you to travel lightly, and it enables you to get to the core of things. It enables you to look deep down inside and see things outside of what people try to portray. So I feel like when you look at people, you can see the most authentic self. You can actually see to the core of them as well. But this makes you very approachable because people can sense that you are very, very deep. And you might have a very strong tie to pile number 1. What the heck? Look at the glare. Look. Mira, mira. That's what we say in Spanish. Look, look. The number 52, we have the magical map shifter. And I feel like this right here, I feel like you're undergoing, as I throw the camera on the floor, hello, a major shift as well. So she's got on her chest a major clock right here. And another one being upheld right here, almost by sheer energy, okay? So this could be stating that while you feel like you're kind of on the clock trying to get things squared away with yourself and figure out self and things like that, I feel like part of you figuring out yourself and helping yourself involves other people, and indeed involving other people. So that can mean like looking at groups to join maybe, or like Narcotics Anonymous or survivors of domestic violence, or any SA groups, whatever your story is, fill in the blank. I also feel like a lot of you guys have a book in you in order to really help the collective. And the wishing well is here. I feel like also you serve to inspire people. I feel like people a lot of times wish that they were you. And how I'm getting that, I feel like this thing is floating above, and it's like all the butterflies are floating towards it, and it almost feels like you're able to unmask people simply by unmasking yourself. And then people kind of wish, a lot of them secretly too, it's like, wow, I wish I could be that open. I wish I could be free like that. And I wish I could speak my truth. And they can. And they can, but it's going to be up to them when the time is right and if they accept the challenge, so to speak. So I feel like that's part of your Achilles heel is, yes, unmasking people. And sometimes I feel like you unmask people and you don't mean to, but you speak so much truth that you don't even think about it. You call it like you see it. And I don't feel like you do it abrasively, not deliberately anyways. And people tend to get a little bit scared of you as well. And I think people are a little bit afraid of pile number one as well too. So there might be a message in there for you. Let's get rid of this because, you know, they're slipping and sliding everywhere. But yeah, I feel like technique and strategy would be your great strengths in connecting with other people. And with all the red, I feel like you help people get really grounded. But also, once I feel safe and once I feel grounded, you allow space. You hold space for them to be who they are. And out of that, they're able to move up to the second chakra, which is the sacral chakra, the chakra pleasure. And that's where they're like, oh, wow, I feel safe enough to where I can actually even talk about, you know, this gives me joy or this pleases me, or, you know, you can get into the sexual stuff as well. You allow and you hold space for people to grieve. You are a very safe person for people. And you know how to become safe. I mean, that's a whole different thing, but people know if they're safe or not. People also know when you are safe. And I think that's a very beautiful thing. So let's see, what part is holding your Achilles heel? Just like Achilles' mother was holding the Achilles as she dipped them into the river of the river Styx, is what they said. The river Styx. I'd like to know what part or who is holding your Achilles. No, got the same. Heal the ouch. You definitely have the same message, basically. Very connected, not identical, but very connected to pile number one. I'm like mixing and they're coming out the same. Details. This reminds me of A Christmas Story. Meatloaf. So, yeah, but I feel like you pay attention to details, and when the truth comes out, it's usually by your inspection, by your process of elimination, like you can deduce this, that, and the other by what people say. But also, I feel like you fill in the negative space and you're able to see like what people omit. And that's part of what holds your Achilles heel is like all the details could be bogging you down sometimes, but you can sift through it and see through and cut through the truth. So that's what I have for you. If you're enjoying these kind of reads, do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Until next time, namaste. Hi friends, my name is Chriselle, Psychic MD, pile number 3. If you chose Marie Laveau, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, this message is for you. Don't be too disappointed. I hear y'all groaning a little bit. That's okay. I've mispronounced worse. So, good juju. Where's all the good juju? So Marie is the number 7. Let's get a good look-see for Marie. There we go. She's got the number 7, the goddess of good juju, New Orleans. Great ancestress Marie Laveau was a larger-than-life New Orleans voodoo person. Voodoo, I don't know what that means. A successful spiritpreneur, the famous voodoo queen, first built a thriving business as a hairstylist. That I did not know. You guys probably know all about that. And I just saw the number 1111, so that could mean something to you guys. I always think of, there you go. Don't fall, please. I always think of your foundation or the Four of Wands when I see 1111. But some of you guys could actually even be from New Orleans, or you could have gone. I actually really wanted to go for my honeymoon, but that didn't happen. And then I divorced. Anyhow, so here we are. What is your Achilles heel, please, for pile number 3? Show me what I need to see for pile 3. The Four of Pentacles. Really? Okay. Let's see what else comes out for you. Oh. What else? The King of Wands. Interesting. Quite unexpected, I guess, with the good juju. And the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles to me, don't be falling everywhere. Ah, oh, you didn't listen. Yeah. Okay. The Four of Pentacles to me oftentimes indicates a miser, right? So somebody who's like kind of a poverty mindset, doesn't share, can be stingy, that kind of a thing. Yet on the other side, we have the King of Wands. This could be a mover and a shaker, a candlestick maker, and somebody who has a lot of tricks up their sleeve. I don't mean that in a bad way at all. But it seems like for all of your entrepreneurship, all of your travels, tricks of the trade, I'm hearing, you could have multiple streams coming in financially. You could be a little bit of a penny pincher, or you could be known as somebody who's a penny pincher, always worried about sinking financially. That could be part of your Achilles heel. That's interesting. That's very different from the others. Okay. See a little bit more about this, please. Seven of Cups. You could be a dreamer. And as a dreamer, perhaps put your money in where it doesn't belong, or not do enough homeworking, if that's a word, in order to know if this is like a solid or viable investment kind of a thing. So you could have tried out a couple of different things. Oh my gosh, she came out for all 3 piles. How is this possible? I'm not complaining. Wow. Okay, some of you guys are here for all 3 piles, and I'm for it. And thank you if that's the case. Now, I personally listen to a lot of readers all the way through. And even on things that I'm not even interested in, you know, simply because I like them or I like to learn. So, I don't know. It's kind of cool. But going back to this, I think that you have definitely big vision, big dreams, and you could have a lot of secrets. You could have a lot of knowledge and intuition, gut feeling. But I feel like the one thing that seems disjointed out of all this is this Four of Pentacles. So you might be a little bit like, oh, let me just kind of save that, or oh, let me hang on to that, and ooh, do I relate to that? Okay, I personally relate to that. I'm kind of like, well, I wore that like twice last year, so I guess I'll just put it away till next time I wear it, and things like that. So you could just kind of hang on to things for the sake of hanging on in case of a rainy day. So who or what holds your Achilles heel? I was interested that when Achilles' mother dipped him into the river Styx, and it made him invulnerable except for the part that she held in her hand. And that was the Achilles, right? So I like to know what part is being held or by whom. It's this defensiveness. I need to defend yourself. I need to self-protect. I need to stand on higher ground. Maybe also you could feel like people just might want to come for you for no reason. And this could not be a real thing, but you could feel like, wow, people just can turn on me at any moment, or people can just take what I have. And I feel like, honestly, I have someone in my energy field, and I feel that about them, that they think that. It's like, wow, they could just, I have these assets, they could just take this. And you could feel sometimes what people are thinking, or how, basically how they're feeling. An 8 of Cups, okay? This is walking away from situations. The 8 of Cups is like, I've done everything, and it's been exhausting because I gave it all my energy, time, emotion, my blood, sweat, tears, my money, all of it. But now I have to walk away because it did not give me joy. It did not bring me joy. And that could be part of the Achilles heel, is maybe going after things that just simply give you joy. And once you get started on something, perhaps it's saying with the 7 of Cups that you could do things only to find out that, there's no joy in that. And maybe you're really successful. Maybe you've got 3 master degrees, and maybe you've had 5 businesses, and maybe one business has been from when you were a teenager and it's been successful, and all you have to do is manage it from afar and things like that. But it leaves you feeling hollow and empty. And that's why you're on to the next, but still a little bit defensive about this because you're seeking your 8 of Cups, okay? And that could be the caveat, is you have all of these incredible things and incredible visions, but almost like with your passion, your desire for connectivity, your desire to find your ultimate happiness, you can burn your own house down by doing that. So all of the planning, all the strategizing and things like that could feel almost like, to other people, it could seem like, wow, you did all this stuff and now you use that degree, or you wasted all this money, or, that kind of a thing. They don't really quite understand it. But that would be your Achilles heel. And I feel like if anybody were to mention it, you'd be a little bit tender about that. And I get it. So would I. So I'd like to know a little bit about how Spirit feels about this. How does Spirit feel about this? Because I feel like you allow people just to be people. You send them good juju, just like she did right here. With a 7, you could be somebody who's like, I'm going to pray for you, or I'm going to send you good juju, or I'm going to send you, you do things to lift people's spirits. And I think that that's also surprising. Coming apart. Why do we have this here? How does Spirit look at this? This is how you come apart, maybe. And in some cultures, things are more beautiful when they're broken. They even outline them with gold. I think that's interesting. How does Spirit look at this? With the good juju. 4 pile 3. How's this looked upon? Wishing well. Wishing well. It's almost like there's more healing to do here. Wishing you well. Like wishing well, right? See this a little bit. I feel like there's a little bit more healing to do. Some things to unravel with the number 46. And I feel like you're really, really close to where it is that you want to be. Storm fields. Yeah. But some things need to be cleared away. And so Spirit thinks that, and Spirit knows. I mean, we've got a checkerboard. It's almost like a chessboard hidden under all these fields. And you're about to find it. But we have this big storm. And it's like, well, which way do we want to go? So you have storm fields coming towards you. And this coming apart is this mask of, okay, everything's fine. I got it all in control. But I don't want to, maybe you've gotten in a financial pickle and you don't want to be open about that. With the number 9, that just tells me that things are coming to a head, because then we hit the number 10. The 10 reduces to a 1, of course, right? And the 1 is always about beginnings. So with the storm fields, you could rest assured that this is all about to be cleared out for you. And that can show up in many different ways. So I personally have a lot of, storm fields like that in my life as well. And they've come at different points in time, and it can look like this. When you move too much, and or you put stuff in storage, you can wind up buying 2 and 3 things of the same thing because you move every year. And that's actually happened to me. So consequently, I wind up having too many things that I don't need. Then I got to go back and say, okay, no more storage. That's gone. And, condensing belongings, getting rid of stuff that I don't need. And, I wound up stumbling across some of my son's belongings when he was a little kid. So I had to put those in boxes and say, you go through your stuff and keep what you want because now you're grown. And it's been difficult. It's been challenging, but very cleansing as well. And I'm still in the process of doing some of that. So you might have things of that nature to do. Others of you is coming apart is just being, cracked wide open before spirit and saying, okay, this journey hasn't been what I've been wanting. It's all about maybe monetary. Does this translate towards earning me what it is that I want? Or is this viable and it's going to grow like a business? But instead, your spirit could be saying, hey, I really would love to help nonprofits, this, that, and the other. And I don't know how the money's going to come or if it's going to come or where it's going to come, but maybe you're financially sufficient and you just would never think to start something for the sake of love or the sake of a passion. The passion has to equal money or some kind of monetary value in some way. Okay. So I'm thinking that maybe it's reconciling. Does everything have to equal to something 3D in order to be fulfilling? And that's a big, big question. We've been trained our whole lives that if you do the laundry, you wash it, you dry it, then you fold it or hang it up or a combination thereof. And if you don't follow those steps, you haven't done laundry. And what about, there are always steps to that. But if it doesn't make sense in a linear 3D kind of a way, is it still important? Is it still worth something? And I think that that's what you might be struggling with. That might be your Achilles heel. And you could be somebody who's super successful, and have a lot of dreams. But again, I feel like maybe part of your heart is calling towards something that isn't necessarily going to be, at least initially, paying out the way you think it should. How does Spirit look at this, please? Protecting treasure, yeah. I feel like you're protecting your finances. I think that it's not that your finances are wrong to protect, but it feels like you're protecting a treasure that in the end isn't really a treasure. It's almost like it could be argued that is a treasure the girl, or is a treasure the mushrooms, or is it within this box, presumably coins and such, or jewels, whatever. So it depends on what you consider a treasure. And I think that that's the question. And that's when the mask is basically being cracked open for you. Any last words about the Achilles heel for pile 3? The Two of Wands, make a choice. You're going to come to a situation, a point, a path in your life where you're going to have to make a choice. Old and continue what you've been doing, or towards the new. Being an explorer, having the world in your hands. But what does that look like? And what are you exploring? Part of it, I feel like, is exploring what is meaningful to you. And these two people, this king dressed right here, and this one dressed for like a safari, and willing to just explore the whole world, 2 different vibes entirely. So I think you have a little bit of homework to really decide what it is that's good for you, and the wrestling between the tangible and intangible, and the 3D and the 5D, and what is really, I guess, physically edifying or satisfying, and what is spiritually satisfying and fulfilling, are things that are going to come into question. And that's where I feel like we're talking about masks, right? This coming apart, I feel like that's what's coming apart for you, is those 2 masks and being cracked wide open. But I do feel in the end that you will wind up integrating them. But initially, I almost feel like you're not going to be forced to choose, but in a way you will, because I feel like you'll find a passion project that is going to drive you. And in the end, it'll wind up making you the money or the security that you want, or the money and security will come in a different form to allow you to pursue your passion project to the fullest, okay? So pile number 3, thank you so much for your time and your love and your support. I do hope that you are doing super well. Much, much love to you. Until next time, namaste.